All I did for her, being a whole fucking mother, bitch, a good one. I would love for her to tell me my faults, but I know my faults. But shit, and I thought was gonna be faulty. She never mentioned. I'm lost. I'm like, had pistols, you know. Um, she ain't know my business because she had a good life, but yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Shimmer Girl Talks. Toni. And I could not find the original of her stating that she could Marvin Gaye her daughter and just sit there and watch her bleed until the police come. That's what she said. I saw the video. Now I can't find it. Now I did see the video. No, I did a reaction video to a text that she did. This was a few weeks ago because this is like an ever going situation. And, she said that she's sorry that she did not delete her daughter. Now, some time ago, I would say a couple of years ago now, I said that one of the reasons why so many Black women have problems is because it started at home with their mother first. And I remember this woman being triggered and going off on me because one of the things that they like to say is because the man didn't stick around and this, that, and the other. Like y'all be picking men to that sticks around. Y'all don't even be married. So stop that, Cap. Please stop it. So I looked up online, and I know just because I look it up online, it doesn't mean that it's true. But I just wanted to know, did Blac Chyna grow up with the father in her home, in her life or whatever? And what I found, because I don't follow her like that. I know of her in passing. And it said that her father wasn't a constant as she was growing up, but he did pay child support. But I want to say this is why I stress the importance of marriage so much. Children need both parents for balance. But I can tell you, at least I can think of two women who grew up in a home with their mother and father, their biological father, no stepfather, whatever, but their actual daddy. And even they have had strained relationships with their mother. So it's just something about mothers and daughters for some reason, just like fathers and sons. It's I don't know if it's like a power struggle. I don't know if it's jealousy. It's a control thing. But when it's only the mother that's in the household trying to juggle a child, her daughter or son, or, sons and daughters, sometimes the mother and daughter dynamic can be pure hell. And I say this as a only daughter. I grew up with two brothers, and I know that these mothers, they can turn on and turn off their love and control and whatever. Because my brothers were treated like kings. I've shared this on this channel before. They were treated like kings. I was treated like a peasant. And then add on to that, no father to kind of buffer my mother's whatever. And, so when so many people say that Black women are masculine and mad and all of that stuff, it stemmed from her mother when they were growing up. I'm trying to tell y'all, because the general consensus online is Black women are masculine because they have to be, because they're stuck, raising children by themselves and this, that, and the other. No, I don't think it started there. I think it started with the mother, the single mother in a lot of cases, who put a lot of unnecessary, it's a word that I want to use, responsibilities onto her daughter that a lot of times the sons don't get. Now, a son might get it if he's like an only boy or she only has sons. But that's another dynamic, because a lot of times you have a lot of these sons out here who turn out to be son husbands. and then they're, not able to be husbands to another woman because his emotions, and I'm not talking about in a physical way, are wrapped up in his mother's emotions and making sure that she's okay because she didn't have a husband. She puts a lot of emotional baggage onto her son. But we're not talking about mothers and sons. We're talking about mothers and daughters. And I can speak on this because I remember when I first got married, the one thing that my mother told me, she said, don't talk to your husband about me, because she knew that I could have opened the floodgate. And I love my mother. She and I we've had our discussions about this, but I think like with a lot of mothers, particularly if they didn't get the life that they were hoping for or wanted, they didn't, you know, get the man that they wanted and, make that work or whatever, they take all of their it's envy and narcissism and gaslighting, they take it out on their daughters, especially when they see that their daughter can potentially get in life what they didn't get. Also, sabotage. These mothers will sabotage their daughters as well. And that's one reason why the single mother rate is so high within the Black community, because the mothers don't want to warn their daughters to not go down that same road, because they want to, they want their daughters to make the same mistakes that they made. So if their daughters got the fairy tale ending with the husband, they want to try to squash that as much as possible. And quiet as it's kept, just based on what I've seen on TV, let's Candy Burris and her mother, Mama Joyce. That's a toxic relationship. I don't care what anybody says. That's a toxic relationship. Candy is blinded. Candy is the opposite of this Blac Chyna, in my opinion, because Blac Chyna's mother, that's toxic. That is insane. I wish y'all could have saw that video of her saying that she could Marvin Gaye her daughter and then just watch her bleed until the police came. That's hate. And I think that is some envy in there. It's got to be. To hate your child to that point, you birthed that child. So if your child is giving you some sort of pushback because of your parenting skills, then you need to look within. But going back to Candy, I strongly believe, I'm going off on a total tangent, that Todd may well have been an opportunist. But Todd is who Candy picked. She wanted that man. And I think Mama Joyce was instrumental in ruining that marriage. And Mama Joyce, to me, also guilt trips her daughter. And that's another thing that some of these mothers do. I carried you for 9 months. I did for you when you couldn't do for yourself. You owe me. You owe me. But you had me. Of course you were supposed to take care of me. But some of these women will do that up until the daughter is a grown woman and she's still emotionally manipulating her daughter. And I remember when I used to work in a hospital, there was this woman, and I don't remember the full story surrounding it, but it was this woman who I think at the time might have been in her 50s, never married, never had children, and she stayed by her mother's side her whole life. I remember the nurses talking about it, saying that she put her whole life on hold because of her mother. And I think that's so selfish. And another mother-daughter duo where the mother completely sabotaged her daughter, emotionally stunted her daughter. If y'all get a chance, watch Grey Gardens. Those Bouvier people. I can't think of, she was related to John Kennedy's wife. I can't think of the name right now. But I even told my mother about Grey Gardens. I said, because it was so reminiscent of my mother and I. that emotional dependency on your mother, or your mother's emotional dependency on you. And I didn't get a chance to be a mother. And part of that, I blame my mother, but it is what it is. I mean, I am a mother because I did have a baby, with my husband. Baby died. If you follow my channel, you already know the story. But in Grey Gardens, you could see where that mother completely guilt tripped her daughter, emotionally stunted her daughter. And clearly the daughter did have she seemed like she had some psych issues. But one of the things that I noticed was that mother praised her sons, even though those sons were never around through that whole video. I think it's like an hour and 30 minutes long. The daughter was the constant in that woman's life. And that mother still put her sons above her daughter, even though her daughter was there suffering with her. And then she waits to the last minute when the woman, she's not a girl, the woman was 56 years old, which ironically, this movie was done in like 1972 or something. And she was 56, little Edie. I'm 56 now. And so she was 56 at the timing of this movie. And she never married. And now, her mother was the reason why she never married. And then in this movie, the mother is like, well, if you wanted to get married, you should have got married. Child, it is so much that I could say about mother-daughter stuff, and like I said, my mother and I, we've already, kind of reconciled. But honestly, there are some things that we can't talk about because it's still too raw for me. And, but when I saw this Toni and the way she did her daughter, that is so prevalent in the Black community that Black people will not discuss this honestly. Because one thing about the Black community, you don't talk about mama, you don't talk about grandma, even though they can be hell on wheels and some, I don't cuss, but child, let me tell you. One point that I wanted to make to the video that I shared at the very beginning, when Toni said she knows her faults. Here's the thing. What a lot of these mothers don't seem to understand is the daughter was on the receiving end of whatever her craziness is. And the mother doesn't get to tell the daughter how she's supposed to respond to her toxicity. And she said, if you heard her, she said, I thought what would have been an issue, she would have called out. So apparently she doesn't want to listen to what Blac Chyna is telling her what the issue is she had with her. I just wanted to say that real fast, and I'll talk to you later.